Hi, and thank you for listening. So, what is it like to have clairvoyance? So, what do I see in my mind? How can I get answers? The way I do it, it's like a movie in my mind. It's kind of like you're watching a trailer. Let's say in 5 years' time, this little scenario was going to unfold in your lifetime, and you were given a trailer of that movie that was going to unfold, that story. But you only had 10 seconds of this and 10 seconds of that and 10 seconds of that. And at the moment, right now, when you're looking at it, you can't make sense of it. So that's kind of what it's like to have clairvoyant ability. So the picture is in my mind and I'm seeing snippets of it. Sometimes I can use like a knowing, a feeling, and put the pieces together and create the story that I think how it's going to be. And then as time goes on, reality starts to happen, and then I can actually see what that meant. Oh yes, that's, as an example, years ago I was doing a reading for a young girl she was in a relationship with this guy, and I had a very, very vivid picture in my mind of her in a hospital bed, wearing a hospital gown, going through the pregnancy, like the labour, going through labour to have a child. She was puffing and panting, and then the next minute, then it switched to a vision of her holding a little baby. So as I was relaying this to her in her reading, I was telling her that I could see her, I actually had a vision of her in the hospital giving birth to a baby. When she wrote back to me, she said that her and her partner are not pregnant at the moment, and they had no intention of wanting a baby just yet because she was more interested in her career and, you know, doing different things. So they didn't really want a child. Anyway, it was probably about 2 years after I had done that reading that she sent me an email, and she sent an attachment of a video. And it was actually, she was an actress. And she was cast, she finally got a really good break in a movie, and she was cast in a role where she had to act being pregnant and act giving birth. So, and then she was holding the baby, and she gave me a snippet of the film that had been recorded, and it was exactly as my vision was. So you see how I didn't get the connection that it was not actually her child, it was her acting in a movie. That was my doing, I just missed that bit out, or I wasn't shown that bit, or my interpretation didn't think of that, but the actual vision was absolutely spot on. So that's what it's like to have clairvoyant ability, where you're seeing things in your mind. You don't always get the where, who, why, when, the whole story of how it unfolds. You just see the outcome. Now that's the thing with predictions. If I share predictions, I'm seeing the outcome. And then a lot of people will panic because they can't figure it. They want to control. They want to control every little moment of their life. They can't just let things unfold. So then they want to know, well, how's it going to happen? You know, and they get all caught up in the how bit, or the how, well, why or when bit, and they don't trust the outcome. That's just human nature. We are controlling type people. So when I was saying I could see banks closing and money systems changing, I get a feeling of like it was back in 1966 in Australia, when we transferred from pounds and pennies to dollars and cents. We went to the Australian dollar. People had to learn to adjust. They didn't lose all their money. It just transferred over to a new system. And that's the same kind of feeling that I don't get this sudden panic where everyone's just going to lose their money. I've never said that, and I don't get that kind of feeling. I have felt for quite some time that there'll be a stock market crash. I don't know when that is. That may be the start of introducing this system. Because when I see things, I'm not one that gets given dates, because I see this so much in astrology where they say, this is going to happen on this particular date, and that date comes and goes and nothing happens. And I think that's false hope doing things like that. And it happens over and over in astrology. Today is March the 20th. A couple of astrologists have predicted that something really, really big is going to happen on this day. So let's wait and see. If the day comes and goes and nothing has happened, do we kind of just forget that they predicted that date and then wait for the next date? Because I'm pretty sure that most people just go, oh, well, it didn't happen then, but we'll just look for the next date. There's always someone looking to hang on to some kind of hope. But I've seen a stock market crash, so I don't know when that is. I see a system where we go directly to one another with payment. Now, they was introduced like a PayPal system where you can pay me from your PayPal account into my PayPal account. We don't need a bank for that. But at the moment, we still need a bank to get it out of PayPal. It's got to be transferred into a bank so that we can get the cash. I can't get it straight from PayPal as cash in my hand. There's a lot of things I can't pay with PayPal, so I still have to use a bank. Same as crypto. Crypto you can pay directly. Crypto to crypto. You're bypassing any kind of bank. So there's got to be a system that's set up that's everyone can use. So if it's a generalized system, then if you're in France and I'm in Australia, I can just transfer directly to you. It'll go through an exchange rate, or maybe there is no exchange rate. Maybe the number 20 is going to mean 20 here, and in France, it'll be 20. So if I owe you 20 points or 20, the number 20, you get that. It doesn't have to go through an exchange system. There is nothing in the middle that takes, like a bank takes. Your employer pays into your bank account. But what if there's not a bank account? What if it's just an account, they've got an account and you've got an account, a digital account, and they just pay you directly. So they don't go through a bank in the middle. So you don't get fees. You don't get those bank fees. So it has a feeling of something like that that's being set up. No, I don't feel like people that have already saved up their money are going to lose their money. I don't feel like it's all going to, like in 1966, it didn't just make everything crash and everything go confusing. There was a lot of education and a lot of learning about how things were going to change. I've also seen loans set up very differently. Now, years ago, it was mainly only a bank you could go and get a loan from. Now there is mortgage brokers, and there is just people popping up everywhere that just deal with loans. They're not actually a bank. They just deal with loans. So you can see how it has shifted away from the traditional way of banking. And that's kind of the feeling that it has, that we're moving into that kind of system, which I feel like it's going to make it easier for us. I still feel like we are in control of our money. It's still up to each individual as to whether you give to others or you just hoard it all for yourself. And I don't feel like it's a social credit system where you will be watched. I mean, you're watched now, what you spend. Every transaction you do has a record because it's done online. It's not cash anymore. Back when you used to pay cash to someone, no one saw who you paid with that cash. So ever since we went into being able to transfer things online or having credit cards, everything you've ever done is recorded online. So why is that going to be any different? Why do you suddenly have a fear that you're going to be watched with everything you spend on when you already are now anyway? So that's how I see things. I've just noticed there's a few people that have never ever listened to me ever in the past before, and they've just started popping up on my page, and now they're ridiculing me because they think I've just come up with an invention like sliced bread. Like, I'm talking about banks closing, and they're like, because someone wrote a comment yesterday after my post saying no shit on my page, because he's never ever been on my page ever before. So he wouldn't know what I was talking about in 2015. And that's just ignorance, because I get that a lot. I get people that just find me and don't do any research. Don't ever go back through 20 years of videos. Don't do anything of that. They'll just comment on that one video. But anyway, that's just people, isn't it? That would get me off track on a rant. So that's the way I kind of see things. I also have noticed that people are still wrapped up in how life is going to affect them. I have never had somebody in a reading, buy a reading and ask me, can I see the climate change getting fixed? Can I see the world economy? Can I see a world war? I don't get anything like that. People only want to know, am I going to be in love? Is someone going to still love me? Is my partner going to come back? Am I going to get a new job? Will we finally get that house that we want to buy? Will we ever get out of renting? Will I leave my husband? Will I leave my wife? Will we ever have a baby? What will happen with my children? Even people that have got grown-up children will still ask the question, are my children going to be okay? Are my grandchildren going to be okay? Everybody is still concerned about how life unfolding around them in the world is going to affect them personally. So I don't know how we are ever going to change the way we are, because we don't change the way we think. Do you ever... I have days where I've just scrolled through social media, or I'm flicking through something, and I see something on the news, and I think to myself, what has happened to us? Where did we go wrong? What happened to us people? We're just so self-absorbed about how is this going to affect me? But yet then I also see a lot of people that are really trying to make big change. I mean, I get so teary. I often think our guides up there, they must look at us as a race and just shake their heads sometimes, like, why do we become so obsessed with just our little life, just what's happening in my little backyard, and we don't care about anybody else? And yet then there's other people out there that are just they just do anything for the community. I saw a lady last night on telly that was a volunteer for the paramedics in South Australia. She gave up her Friday and her Saturday nights and volunteered, did not get a cent, to go and sit in the ambulance to support paid ambulance officers, because they are overworked and they don't have the support that they need. She's volunteered her time. I was just sitting there in awe of this woman that didn't expect anything back. She was giving her time to help. I mean, there's not a lot of people that will do that, is there? Most people will say, if I'm going to do something for you, I want to be paid for it. I'm the same with my inbox. The amount of messages that go into my inbox where people, they don't want to pay me anything. They don't care if I've got no money for rent next week. They just does not even enter their mind. But they'll ask me a question that I'm expected to help them. I'm expected to answer their question for nothing. And you know what? I do. I do answer people's questions for nothing. I don't sit there and say, well, you know, I'm not going to answer that question unless you pay me something. I do it, but I don't know, you can just see it around you everywhere on the expectation. If you ever ring up a lawyer and just ask a question and he wouldn't send you a bill for that? You know, have you ever just gone to the doctor and said, look, can I just ask you a question about my health, but you don't pay the doctor, or the doctor expects you to pay them? It's just that divide is still there, and I don't think we're ever going to fix that. I honestly don't think we're ever going to fix that. And as much as I would love to believe that we're moving into a time of more community-minded people, I don't think it's going to happen, because we're too wrapped up in ourselves. How is this going to affect me? you know, and not the bigger picture. But I don't see a war, because I still am doing, in each readings that I do individually for people, I'm still seeing things in 10 years' time where they are, you know, developing this or a business or something like that. So in my mind, if there was a war and we were all wiped out, then that wouldn't have been happening in 10 years' time, would it? I wouldn't be seeing anybody's future, because there'd be nothing to see. I like to listen to a lot of theories. Some of them, you just got to use your instinct and just go, that just feels like that might be something you're making up. That might be plausible, because you never know. Like, this is a crazy world and you just never know what's going to come out. I try very, very hard with what I'm seeing in a prediction. I will try very hard to keep a reality to it rather than making a far-fetched prediction, because that's just going to lose. That just gets lost in the translation. So it has this energy at the moment about money changing soon. Like, I don't like giving times, but it just has that feeling about it that we're going to be seeing more and more of this. And if you're somebody that likes to watch a bit of astrology, watch some different clairvoyants, watch people that talk facts. There's a lot of people out there that actually know. They're behind the scenes, you know, in different industries where they actually have fact. There's a lot of people that make stuff up as well. But you just got to take what feels right for you and use it as an awareness, so that the decisions that you're making feel right for you. If someone comes to me and says, is now the right time to buy a home, I will say, like, for their situation, no, now is not the right time to buy a home. If you just wait for, I'll get like, just wait for a year, and then the opportunity will come, because the prices will drop where you're looking at, the area you're looking at, or the new loan systems are going to come in. So that's a really good thing for clairvoyance, because they can give you that kind of guidance so that you don't rush in. If someone doesn't ask for any guidance and they just rush in, they can find themselves in a situation later on where they've got to sell stuff because they messed up with a financial decision. So that's the beauty of clairvoyance, when somebody can actually visualize something into the future. They can give you a picture of the outcome, and then you're just aware of it. So yeah, that's kind of what it's like. I don't have all the answers, and I never, I don't. Sometimes when I have an outcome and I see an outcome, then people start asking me, well, what do I do about this and what do I do about that? I don't have all those answers, because I don't get given that. And I think sometimes our guides just want us to trust the outcome and trust that we find our way there, without having to control everything along the way. So yeah, that's how I see things. And thanks everyone, for those of you that have always supported me and followed me, because when I see stuff, it's nice not to be judged for what I'm seeing. If you don't believe in any of it, fine. If you just like to listen and be aware, that's a wonderful thing. But I don't like being attacked, because that's when I will stop. If I keep getting more and more people that just keep telling me that it's of no help to anybody, or it's a load of shit, whatever they want to call it, I'll stop doing it. I'll just clam up, and I was like, well, I won't share it with anybody then. So yeah, just be mindful of the way you treat other people. I think we really need kindness at the moment. We should be reaching out and hugging each other, not attacking each other, but there's an awful lot of attacking going on. So thank you again for listening to me on this 20th of March. So let's see, it's only early in the morning on a Monday morning here in Australia, so we'll wait and see if all the astrologers are right. Something wonderfully big happens today.